Hello, I'm Susan. This is a comeback yoga class. This class is gentle yoga and meditation, and we practice together for about 45 minutes. Sometimes we have to convince a cat to move off of our mats before we can start. Um, now that that's taken care of, welcome. Um, so let's practice together. If you're familiar with comeback yoga, you don't need the whole spiel, but if you don't know Comeback Yoga, we're a nonprofit. We offer yoga and meditation classes to people who are serving in the military or who have served in the military, and to their friends and to their families. Um, and that's what we do. You can go to our website, comebackyoga.org, to find out more about that. Give yourself some cross legs and a tall spine. You can put one hand inside the other, and we'll begin with placing ourselves in a particular position and seeing what that feels like. You might start to notice right away things coming up, thoughts coming into your head, or you might start noticing that you feel a certain way. Once we slow down and start to observe things, that's when the yoga starts. It's your mind body connection, encouraging that, getting to know that a little bit better. I'll start to pay attention to what I think of as the bridge between your body and your body and your mind. It's your breathing. So you're noticing your breath, inhaling and exhaling. You can have your eyes open or closed. It doesn't matter. We'll practice three-part breath. Of course, your breath cannot physically be divided into three parts. This is a technique that we focus on different parts of our bodies while we're breathing. First, you notice your regular breath, then you pay attention. We'll start with the low belly. And you can put your hands on your low belly, or you can just feel. And it includes the sides and back of your that area all around while you're breathing. Encourage breath to be big and full and expansive in your low belly. After you've got that part, you can move your awareness up to your rib cage, and you might put your hands on your rib cage or on your side. Now you're breathing into your rib cage. Again, this is a technique. You can't just breathe into your rib cage as your body breathes how it breathes, but you are paying attention. You're focusing on the space of your rib cage. Breathe in, breathe out. Once you've got that, the third part of three-part yogic breath is the space underneath your collarbones. These muscles are secondary breathing muscles. So you've got your main breathing muscles, and your secondary muscles help kick in when you need extra support for your breathing. So your breathing very gently into these secondary areas of your breath. Inhale and exhale. And we'll put it all together. You can keep just doing that, noticing the three different parts of your areas of your body that you can focus on while you're breathing, or you can do this kind of putting it all together technique where you inhale and breathe into your low belly, take a little pause, then keep inhaling into your rib cage, take a little pause, keep inhaling into your upper chest, and take a long, slow exhale, everything. And then you do it again. Inhaling into your low belly. Take a little pause, inhaling into your rib cage. Take a little pause, keep inhaling into your upper chest. And exhale slowly. We'll do one more like that. Low belly, rib cage, upper chest, and exhale. Move your head around, move your shoulders. Release that technique. We'll come back to it towards the end of class. You can rub your hands together. We've been sitting like this for a bit, so let's stretch out our legs. You can bring your legs out in front of you and sit however you want to sit with your rest of your body. You can have your hands on the tops of your legs, or you could have your hands behind you and try and support your back as best you can. And move through your feet, your ankles. Hold on to one leg and bring it back towards you. If you hold on one hand to your opposite foot, you can rotate your thigh bone in your hip socket and find a seated pigeon. I'm rocking that a little bit, some movement in. Then switch sides. If holding onto your foot doesn't work for you, you can hold on to your thigh. And if having your foot in the air doesn't work for you, you can have your foot on the floor and let your knee wing out to the side and bring it back to center. Same thing, just different angles, and it'll feel differently inside your hip. The same ultimate result is stretching your hip. Both legs long, move through your feet, your ankles. Let's cross one leg over the other. And turn. Your cross leg is your top leg. Turn to your top leg's thigh. Hip, turn, look behind you. And square forward. Take your top leg and ease your ankle up your bottom leg and see how far it comfortably goes. This is the half lotus. And you can rock a little bit here too. And we'll do the whole thing on the other side here. Cross and bring your hands to your opposite, your other thigh. So your whichever leg this is on top, that's the hip and thigh that you're turning towards. Square forward and slide your top ankle up. It might be below your knee, might be above your knee. And you're rocking a little bit. Should feel neutral in your knee and your ankle. If you're feeling anything other than neutral, then that's your body saying, well, maybe your ankle should be not quite so high on your bottom leg. Then we'll Stretch out a little bit. One more time. Move through your feet and your ankles. And we'll find the seated posture and round your back forward. Lift yourself up, put your fingertips back behind you, and lift. Just lighten your body a little bit. And soften up. Let's bring ourselves in a table position. Do that however you like. Once you're in the table, you can bring one knee underneath. You can put your foot on the floor, or if you want a little extra work for your core, keep your foot off the floor, bringing your knee in towards your nose and your nose toward your knee. Stretch yourself out into bird dog pose. Both knees down, and try the other side. Knee toward your nose toward your knee. You can put your foot on the floor for extra oomph there, a little more support, or you can keep your foot off the floor for a little more work. And stretching your leg back behind you in the bird dog. Put both knees down. Walk your knees out a little bit. Let your hips lean over to one side. Come through center. Let your hips lean over to the other side. Come through center. And we're working with this pigeon idea today, this pigeon movement. Let's slide one knee forward, and if you can get your foot on the opposite edge of your mat, you can bring yourself into this lifted pigeon. You can stay right here like this, so you can tuck your back toes under and lift your back knee. And put your back knee down if it was up. Put your front leg, your foot back over on its own side. Bring yourself back into the table position and walk your hands back. We'll lift up into kneeling position. You can roll through your shoulders, move through your head, turn and look over past one shoulder. That's good for balance, just rotating and turning. Balance challenge there. Do both sides. And we're doing the face down pigeon, the lifted pigeon on the other side. And walk yourself into the table. Let's stretch hips side to side. And you're bringing your other knee forward, and your foot comes over towards the opposite edge of the mat. It places your thigh in an externally rotated position. And you can stay there, or you can tuck your back toes under and lift your back knee, coming into this lifted pigeon pose. You're breathing and stretching. Put your back knee down and bring your both knees back. Let's walk ourselves back into foot stretching pose. That's toes tucked under and hips on the tops of your heels. If that seems a little too intense for the bottoms of your feet, just have one foot at a time and keep yourself a little bit more lifted. It's always okay to do that. And we're in kneeling position. Once again, roll through your shoulders. Let's try a camel pose. Hands together, lengthen your spine. You can lean a little bit. And straighten out. Bring your hands back down towards the floor. Let's lean into an upward facing dog. Hips come forward. And glide yourself back into a downward facing dog. Hands and feet on the floor, hips pointing up to where the wall and the ceiling meet. Make a triangle out of your body. Your hands and feet are 2 points. The bottom 2 points of the triangle, and your hips are the top point of the triangle. You can walk your feet towards each other. Take one leg back, knee bent. And bring your knee forward and bring your foot over on the opposite edge. Bring one knee back, put your both feet back down onto the floor. You can take a little rest here if you want, or you can stay in the downward facing dog. We'll try the other side. Bent knee, back behind you, and then bring your leg underneath you. This is a floating pigeon. And stretch it back. And both feet down. Again, you can take a little rest, bring your knees down to the floor, or you can stay in downward facing dog. And we'll walk hands back towards your feet, or you can just bring yourself in a forward fold, however you want to. We're in forward fold towards the back of the mat. You can put your elbows in the tops of your legs and make a loose fist with your hands, fingers woven together. And let's bring ourselves into a chair pose. You can put your hands lightly on the tops of your legs and look forward, down towards the top of the mat, and straighten up. Once you're up, you can roll through your shoulders. Let's step left foot forward, right foot back. You can lift and lower your back heel a couple times. Plant it down. Roll through your shoulders, sweep your arms up and overhead. We're in Warrior One pose. And open into Warrior Two pose. Just walking your feet into a little bit different angle so your hips can open a little more comfortably. We'll find a reverse warrior. Back arm down by your leg. Front arm reaches up and over. You stretch out your sides. And we'll straighten up and tilt into the triangle pose. Just doing some forward and back, some complementary poses. Then we'll lift, rotate on the ball of your back foot. You can either step together and then come into the standing pigeon, or you can try stepping forward and floating your back leg forward and crossing. It's up to you. And look, I could put my hand on the wall and that would be fine to give myself a little extra help and balance. So maybe you stepped together and then you're crossing ankle over your opposite knee and sitting. This is a standing pigeon. It's a lot like eagle, only your ankles on top of your knee instead of your thigh over your thigh. Let's come out of the standing pigeon, put both feet on the floor. Come up to the top of your mat. Inhale to reach way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring your arms out and come into a forward fold. And your forward fold is supported. Your elbows can be on the tops of your knees, and you're stretching yourself out, finding this forward fold. Breathe in and breathe out. And we'll find a chair pose with your hands just lightly on the fronts of your legs, utilizing the strength of your core, strength of your legs. And just stand up. This time you're stepping your other foot back, left foot back. You're lifting and lowering your back heel a couple times. And plant it down. You're finding Warrior One. Your arms float forward and up. The up doesn't have to be any particular angle. So up might, for you, might be here. It depends on how your shoulders feel. Give yourself plenty of compassion and latitude. You don't have to be any particular place. Everybody's warrior one looks different. Your arms might be way up here on either side of your ears. Maybe your hands are on the top of your head or on the back of your head. And from warrior one, we're opening into the warrior two. You can walk your feet a little bit differently, turn them out a little bit. Your front knees bent and your back legs long. Your arms reach forward and back in T shape. And we're curving back into reverse. Different places you might put your gaze. You might look down towards the floor or up towards your wrist. And we're coming back through, straightening your arms and your legs, tilting your torso, and finding the triangle pose. And from triangle pose, you're inhaling to rise, rotating on the ball of your back foot and turning towards the top of the mat. We're stepping forward into the standing pigeon. Again, you can put your hand on the wall for extra support, for balance, or on a piece of furniture, or you can try stepping forward, just stepping together and then coming into the standing pigeon. You can try stepping forward in one big motion and then sitting in your standing pigeon. Both feet down. Nice job. Hips in a circle. Hips in a circle the other way. Inhale to reach way up. Exhale, arms out wide, hinge forward. Put your hands on the fronts of your legs. If you don't want to come down all the way to the floor, you can stay here or you can come into the chair pose. If you want to do the thing that I'm doing, with my hands on the floor, walk back into a plank position. Move into an upward facing dog and pull back into a downward facing dog. If you are in chair pose or forward fold, you can certainly go in between those two postures. Give yourself a chair and then sit back in that chair pose and then ease into forward fold. If you're in downward facing dog, you can try doing that bent knee and then coming into a little floating pigeon, then replacing that knee lifted, and coming forward into a floating pigeon. And easing back into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you can step, walk, hop, bring your feet up somehow, up toward your hands. And we'll all meet in forward fold. And bend your knees and lift up. And we're standing again. Roll through your shoulders, shake out your hands, especially if you were in downward facing dog. Stretch your wrists. And we'll sweep up, reach way up overhead. Exhale, let your arms float down. I'll take right arm under left in eagle arms. We'll step your right foot back. Bring into warrior one with eagle arms. You can lift your rib cage and lift your gaze. Unwrap your arms, open up. You can walk your feet out a little bit and find the triangle pose. Inhale to rise, rotate on the ball of your back foot. Here's our standing pigeon. Once again, we're going to try to go a little bit different place this time. Find your standing pigeon, then try to sit and see if you can tilt a little bit more. Maybe your elbows come down towards your cross leg. And wherever you are, you're lifting yourself up, uncrossing, standing on 2 feet, hips circle, roll through your shoulders. Inhale to reach way up. Exhale, arms out wide, hinge forward, hands on the fronts of your legs. Here's another opportunity to come down towards the floor and do a plank upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Or you can stay here. I'll be here this time. I'm going to do it this way. And I'm moving between a forward fold and a chair pose. So if you're in a plank, upward facing dog, and then you're in downward facing dog, you could experiment with that one leg back. If you're in the downward facing dog position, maybe coming into that floating pigeon position with your body. And then if you are in downward facing dog, you're walking your hands, your feet forward, stepping forward. You can hop or walk or step forward. And we'll all meet in forward fold. Knees a little bent. And rise up. Rolling through your shoulders. Let's find eagle arms, left arm underneath right this time. And stepping back with your left foot. Coming into warrior one with eagle arms. We'll find a bit of back bend. We're lifting elbows, lifting arms, lifting your gaze. And then releasing your arms, opening up to the side a little bit. We're turning, and you can find a triangle pose. Sometimes I just keep my arms, both arms down, but you could also take your top arm into the air and see if you can find a long line with your both arms. We'll inhale and rise. Rotate on the ball of your back foot. Here is our standing pigeon again. You can take a couple steps forward. You can hold on to something to help balance you. And we're coming forward and finding that crossed leg. And then let's just see if your elbows come down towards your crossed leg. Inhaling to rise, uncross, nice job. Both feet down, hips in a circle, and the other way. Inhale to reach way up. Exhale, arms out wide. Hinge forward. Let's all now come down to the floor. Placing your hands on the floor, coming into a plank, an upward facing dog, and a downward facing dog. Once you're in the downward facing dog, you can walk your feet closer together, take one leg back, and bring your leg forward and see what happens when you place your leg on the floor. If you can angle it over like we did in this lifted pigeon. You could put your back knee down and then scoot back until you feel comfortable stretch. And if comfortable stretch doesn't happen for you here, then you're staying a little bit lifted. You can do a pigeon that we did before. You can stay lifted here. Some of you might want to come all the way back down to your hip of your leg that's folded underneath you. You can come down onto your forearms. Please really listen to your body here. You've got lots of options and choices. You don't have to be in any particular position, just the one that seems right for your hip stretch. And we'll carefully Bring ourselves back. You can do it in little stages. Bring both legs back, and let's find the downward facing dog again. If you are over downward facing dog, you can do this from table too. You could stay on your knees if you don't want to lift yourself up in the downward facing dog. And you can take your other leg back and glide it through. Put your shin on the floor and just see what happens. You can put your back knee down. You might ease yourself back into this pigeon stretch. You can roll over onto one side. You can stay square. You have really just like a million options here. You can do a pigeon that we did before. Breathe in and breathe out. And whatever pigeon you were exploring, we'll ease our way back into the table position. Move your hips side to side, walk your hands forward, ease into the upward facing dog, and then we'll move into child's pose, folding your body over your folded legs. Let's lift up and sit. Sticking your legs out in front of you. Move through your feet, your ankles. And we'll lower ourselves down onto our backs. You can hold on to one leg. You can put your hands back behind you and use your arms to support. And once you're down on your back, you can bring one knee in toward your chest. Then try finding this floating pigeon, just encouraging your foot that's in the air to come a little closer to the opposite side. Switch legs. Knee into your chest, and you can just encourage your foot come over to the opposite side. And both feet on the floor. Cross one ankle over your opposite knee. This is also pigeon. You can bring your legs closer toward you though, which intensifies the stretch on your hip. We'll switch legs. This might be plenty of stretch for you. Some days this is plenty of stretch for me, and some days I want a little more stretch. If I want a little more, just bring my legs closer toward me and hold on. Uncrossing, walking your feet out a little bit, rock your knees side to side. And we're visiting again the technique of three-part breath. Only this time we're on our backs. Now, if for any reason you don't want to do this on your back, feel free to sit up or do any other kind of angle. You could lay on your side, whatever else seems right for you. And if you're joining me here like this, you can put your hands on your low belly. Breathe into your low belly. And to your rib cage. Breathe into your rib cage. And upper chest, breathe into your upper chest. And then breathe in sequentially, low belly, rib cage, upper chest, and then take a long, slow exhale. Breathe in low belly, rib cage, upper chest, and long, slow exhale. As you're breathing in this three-part breath, you're encouraging yourself to take in comfortable amounts of air. It doesn't have to be more or less than what you usually take in. You are focusing on the comfort and ease of your breath. And even though we're doing a technique, actually, because we're doing a technique, it's even more important to ease your way into it, to give yourself plenty of support, um, less efforting, and more softening. If you're ready to allow that technique to fade, you can just return to your natural breath, however that is. Observe the effects of three-part breath. Now you can adjust yourself into any comfortable position, and this is resting position, including sitting up. If you'd rather sit up for a resting position, that's always an option. In resting position, you can just do nothing. And if you feel a little bit bored, then you're probably doing it correctly. And you can stay in resting position for as long as you want to, but if you feel ready, you can move around a little, wiggle your fingers and your toes, maybe through your wrists and your ankles. If you're already sitting up, you can stay there. And if you're lying down, you can take your time to roll over onto one side and gradually bring yourself back up, letting your head and your body readjust to a tall spine. Roll through your shoulders, move through your head. Observe the effects of practice. Soft inhale breath through your nose and exhale through your mouth. I'll do that 2 more times. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Rub your hands together and take your fingertips and bring them to the center of your forehead. Just glide out toward your temples. Take your fingertips to your cheekbones and glide down toward your jawline. Take your hands to your opposite shoulders and glide down toward your elbows. And take your hands on the tops of your thighs, kind of close toward your hips, and glide down toward your knees. Thank you so much. Thanks for practicing today. Thanks for practicing with me and with Comeback Yoga. I really hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to practicing with you again soon. If you get a chance to go to our website, comebackyoga.org, you can find out more about us, about our organization, and maybe finding classes that are in person that you could connect to. We've got lots of in person classes throughout Colorado. And I hope you come back to this class. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. We'll see you later.